Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to The Courage to Change, a recovery podcast. I am your host, Ashley Lowe Blassingame, and today we have a very special guest, Tank Sinatra. I am going to read his brief bio and then give you a little background. Tank Sinatra is an OG of the social meme repost craze. George Resch is now a prolific content creator of his own. His Insta-famous account, a marriage of viral memes and comedic quips, stemming from his self-proclaimed chubby kid sense of humor, has seen an evolution from meme mock-ups and shirtless bodybuilding selfie posts to the politically charged. Now with nearly 2 million Instagram followers, the meme mogul is using his celebrity and social savvy to fight today's growing cultural negativity through good news stories on coordinating Instagram account Tank's Good News, sharing good news only memes to an already 1 million plus and growing following. So George, Tank Sinatra, is a friend of mine, and I have known him since the early days. I think we met in 2009, and he was part of my awesome AIDS walk team, the Fanny Packs. Anyway, George is an incredible guy, and what he's done as Tank Sinatra is amazing with his huge following, and I know that he is going to do amazing things. He has a book out. And when we knew each other, he was doing something called Happy is the New Rich. So I am just so humbled by the fact that he was willing to come into our studio. He's a very, very busy man now. And he flew in from New York and came down to our Laguna studio and recorded so that you all get to hear his amazing story. So if you don't already know him, look up Tank Sinatra on Instagram or Tank's Good News. And please enjoy my friend George. You know him as Tank Sinatra. Episode 18. You know what's next. Say it with me. Let's do this. Tank, Thank you so much for coming in to my podcast booth.
Super fancy.
It's
It does the trick.
Right?
Yeah, it does the trick.
Right? I have my office and then this room.
It's very soundproofed in here.
Yeah, we needed that.
It's like a vacuum.
We didn't want the neighbors to know about all the stuff we talk about in here.
Imagine.
They're going to kick us out. We got a bunch of drug addicts in the building.
That's pretty funny, yeah. Yeah, I'm a drug addict.
You are a drug addict.
Everything addict. Like really just whatever. We'll get to it later, but
yeah.
I've had some eye-opening experiences the last couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I really I feel like that is, I'm having that lately, and I feel like that's the universe's way of like, you're not free.
No.
You are, Ashley, you must maintain a high level. In fact, not maintain, increase. Like,
yeah, I have no desire to be done with this at all.
It's just.
If I thought for a second that I was like good to go, that would be the end. Not that I create challenges for myself, because I've done that too, where I've like purposely kept myself sick so that I didn't relapse.
You did that?
Oh, yeah.
I'm apparently really good at just doing it without thinking about it.
Well, that's what happened eventually, but in the very beginning, I was like, if I spend all my money, I obviously can't drink.
Okay.
Or if I eat a whole pizza, obviously I can't handle alcohol. So I would like act out in ways that were less harmful.
Okay. Right. I get that.
So I'd be like, all right, see if I can't handle that.
I did that with cigarettes, like where it was like, I'll smoke so I don't drink.
Yeah. It makes total sense.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever gets you there.
Just going to put this cigarette into my system to get it out of my system, and then I'll be good.
Yeah. It's one of those things where if you're a drug addict or an alcoholic, the logic makes perfect sense at the time.
There's no other way.
It just makes, yeah.
Everyone else is an idiot.
Yeah, 100%.
Even you're an idiot for not seeing that sooner.
For not thinking that sooner. Yeah, exactly. No, it's true. I look back and I'm like, God.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Yes.
Never dull.
So you and I met in 2009, and you were so badass because you joined my team called the Fanny Packs.
Oh my
to
God.
do the AIDS walk. We didn't actually know each other then.
Wow.
And you joined, and that was my now husband and I had been dating for 2 months. And
wow.
And you joined with Chris and a bunch of our other.
What was that other girl's name with the
Angela,
reddish hair?
Laura. Yeah, well, that's a whole other story.
1, 2, 3, stop.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love Laura. She joined a cult, but that's.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
No, that's what I mean. It's literally a
Fanny Pack could have been a cult for all I know. Who knows?
The Fanny Packs was a cult, and we rocked it.
That's funny because when I moved out here, you ever seen the movie Yes Man?
No.
With Jim Carrey?
No, but it would be helpful if I had.
Yeah, so Yes Man is just basically a movie about a guy who's miserable and depressed. It's Jim Carrey, and somebody, it's either like a wizard or a psychologist says, say yes to everything.
Yeah.
So when I got out here, I just said yes to everything. I said, walk, how many miles was that? 10 miles? 6 miles?
Yeah.
I would have never, ever in my life walked 6 miles living on Long Island.
It was amazing. You, literally, I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, but he wants to come on my team called the Fanny Packs and walk with us. And you were stoked. And I was like, this guy's great.
Yeah, I didn't run out of energy at all. I was so pumped. I was brand new to California.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You were
so new.
So, yeah.
I was still in
How did you get here? So maybe we should start. You grew up on Long Island. I'm assuming you grew up there.
Yeah.
And
well, I was born there. I grew up here a lot. Actually.
Right.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
No, I really did. I don't even know where to start. Let me just say, because it's something that I think about a lot. When I moved to California, the reason that I was so hyped on everything was because I remember being with somebody after a meeting and being like I was on acid almost. I was like, this is a California curb. That's a California wall. That sky is I couldn't believe I lived in California now.
Yeah.
Because
it's so beautiful here.
Well, that, and I also had lived in one area my entire life. So yes, I was born and raised in Long Island, New York.
Not a bad place to end up in Laguna Beach.
No. How did I get here? Oh my God. Everything in my life that's been interesting or good has been a result of the program. So some guy that I met.
Now, how long are you sober?
October 3rd will be 17 years.
What? Dang.
October 3rd, 2002.
17 years. So you were sober some time when you came out.
Yeah, 7 years.
I didn't realize that. I thought you were
fresh out of rehab. What a loser.
That sounds really bad.
No.
I thought you were new, and I thought you were like everyone else who comes here for the rehab.
No, I was new to the area. It's funny because when I was about to celebrate 7 years when I moved here.
Oh, okay.
And when I drove across country, talk about little signs from God or whatever.
Yeah.
I stopped in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Which was a devastating blow to my perception of the world because I left Long Island. I went down to Maryland to make a ninth step. Just to get, it was the last one that I had. I used to work at this restaurant. I stole from it for 6 months. I don't know how much I stole. I went down there with $3,000 just to hand it to the guy and say, this is way more than I took, but
here you go. And
when I went down there, the place was closed. So I was like, all right. I told my friend Jay that I was driving with. I was like, I might wind up in jail tonight. Just so you know, I'll be out definitely tomorrow. It's not a big deal, but I can't move across the country with this thing on me, you know? So we drove from Maryland to DC to Chicago to St. Louis and then across. And thankfully, on the drive from DC to Chicago, we drove through Akron and I stopped at Dr. Bob's house and cried basically the whole time I was there because I couldn't believe, I don't know, it was a very powerful experience. So anyway, we went from St. Louis.
It's like Jerusalem for us.
Yeah, the Mecca, Colorado Rockies.
Right.
Moab.
Yeah,
Utah. Arches National Park.
Beautiful.
Bryce Canyon. Zion. Grand Canyon. Vegas. Like man's most feeble attempt.
You'd never been there.
To Vegas?
Yeah.
No. And I was just coming off this natural high that it was like I had never seen man's futility more than when I went to all those national parks.
Yeah.
And then ding, 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 bright lights, hookers, steak, spend your money. Like, wow, we suck. Oh my God, this is our idea of fun. And it was just such a downer. So I went to a meeting there and it just so happened that a guy that I met who had the same exact sobriety date as me, October 3rd, was celebrating 8 years, and he had a 7-ball, like a cue ball keychain that he gave to me when I got here. And then I got here and I met a bunch of people at the Canyon Club. Yeah. When people ask me, like, how did you do it? How did you move to California not knowing anybody? You know how Barry Bonds has the asterisk next to his home run record because of the steroids? That's what I feel like whenever I do anything pretty much. But especially that because people would be like, you just moved here and you didn't know anybody? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty nuts, right? Yeah. Went to a meeting the first day I got here and got 15 phone numbers of guys that I could call. Exactly. And went to the beach with one of them that day and spent 6 hours with them. So it's kind of cheating, but it's also like I have alcoholism. So what's the trade-off?
Yeah, exactly. What's the trade-off?
You want to trade places with me?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I have a lot of friends, but I pee my pants when I drink. So
me too.
Which one would, which one?
Yeah. Do you want to drink or do you want to move somewhere where you don't know one and have some friends?
Yeah.
It's up to you.
So moved here. And then something amazing also happened when I left on September 14th or whatever it was. I got here like the 30th or whatever of September. Okay. And I was asked to speak. First of all, I was feeling a little bit poor me because in Long Island, when you celebrate, the group has, let's say the third Thursday of every month, everyone celebrates in the group. Yeah. When you get here, which I didn't know, if they say, has anybody celebrating a birthday, they call it, stand up. And I stood up at 7 meetings and introduced myself at 7 meetings and told the 3-minute synopsis of myself at 7 meetings. By the end of that week, I knew everybody I needed to know, pretty much. Yeah. I treated myself like a beginner all the way, 100%. Right. I treated myself like a beginner. I didn't do 90 and 90, but I didn't do 90 and 90 as a beginner either. Yeah. And I got asked to speak on October 3rd, which is my anniversary, at the Canyon Club. And I was like, all right, I get it. Like, you're with me. Fine. Okay. Yeah, understood. Fine. Shh. There's been, and that's one of like hundreds of experiences where I don't know. I can't deny the fact that there's a higher power working in my life, especially if I was to look at my life from the outside right now, the way it is, I would be like, furious at myself for not believing in some kind of a higher power. Like, you think you did all this? Right. Okay, I guess. But it's like I have the awareness to do that. Like when Obama said, I'm not getting political, it's just something that he said. When he said, about the community and society and everyone is like in it together, he's like, you drove your trucks to work on the roads that the government put up. You didn't put the roads down. He said kind of like that. That's how I feel about everything. Right. Literally everything.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that, where it's like, we feel like we've been overpaid, right? Like we've been given tools that no one else has. Yeah. We've taken, you remember that movie, speaking of movie references, where they take a pill that like accesses a whole other part of your brain?
Limitless.
Yeah, Limitless. Okay, yeah. I didn't actually see the movie, but I always thought like that the program and sobriety in general, like the ability to do things sober and and for me being so connected in the therapy world, and it has given me the ability to connect and deal with humans and in so many different scenarios to connect with people in a way that most people don't know how to do.
No, but part of that, it comes with a responsibility, right? Yeah. Because it's like my sponsor says to me often, these people don't have a program. They don't know. And it's well, if I do, then I got to act like I do, I guess. Right. Because you can't be on their level. You can't stoop down to somebody who's not aware enough to know that they're being inconsiderate or rude or selfish or whatever. Like, it's hard. Have to see that from a different, that's very recent for me. Very recent. The feeling of responsibility where it's like, if my son, who's 6, tried to start a fight with me, like an actual fist fight, I would be responsible for calming down the situation, not going buck wild and being like, you want to do this, bro?
Sorry, I just pictured that.
Like, rip my shirt off, just like, you don't know who you're messing with. Like, no, I'm above that. I have to be above that. Right. I want to be above that. Yeah. I want to be better.
Right. Like this person is an emotional 6-year-old.
Yeah, I can't engage.
Yeah. Well, and with you have 2 million followers, probably more with both your accounts now, on 2 million on Tank Sinatra, and then what's then
1.1.
1.1.
1.7 on Tank.
I'm inflating your numbers.
It's okay. We'll call it 2.
We'll call it 2.
We'll call it 5.
We'll call it 5.
Yeah.
And then Tank's Good News. And so I'd imagine, I mean, I have this issue where I see things on the internet, things people say, and I think to myself, judgmental things people say about others. And I think to myself, gosh, you have no idea. We have no idea what that. I saw someone talking about Melania Trump, and this is not political. I don't know her. I don't my opinions on her are irrelevant. But they were talking about her being a former escort or something, and I was like, I'm not sure that's, who cares? Like, why is that what we're judging her about? They don't have a program.
The only people I still judge are people that judge other people. I have a hard time not judging people who judge other people.
Yeah.
I try not to, because I understand that they're coming from a place of needing to build themselves in some way. And if knocking down the first lady for her past makes you feel better about your current situation, I guess have your moment. But yeah, I'm not, and again, like...
Yeah, no, it's not it's not about the politics.
No.
For me, it's like...
It's just a human being.
Right, like let's separate out what someone did when they were 20 years old, when under circumstances we have no idea about, and we're having commentary on the internet about it right now. Why?
Yeah.
Like what is that? Is that helpful? Are we engaging? And then, are we engaging in helpful commentary? Are we listening to each other?
That's not even a thought.
Right. But then I go, oh, I'm coming from program.
Yeah.
I'm coming from a place, I'm coming from years of trained thought
professional human being.
Yeah, about a being. Yeah. And I'm surprised when other people who don't have that don't act that way.
No. Yeah. Listen, even people in the program.
Totally. I still sometimes do. And I'm like, I'm such an ass.
I'm pretty perfect at this point. Yeah. But speak for yourself.
Yeah. For myself. Yeah. I am working on getting to tank perfection. Tank perfection.
You know what I like to think about? Because in the big book, it says the word perfect, enlarge and perfect your spiritual life.
Oh, yeah. It does say that. You're right.
In AA, I learned that things that I thought were nouns were verbs, like love and, perfect. Yeah. Progress, not perfection. Like perfection is not a state. It's not a state of being. It's a state of action. Yeah. Like you're perfecting. Like the 12th step, practice these principles in all our affairs. I share this in my home group all the time. They're probably absolutely tired of hearing it, but nobody's here from my home group.
Yeah, so there you go.
I remember being a little kid and saying to my mom, hearing a doctor talk about his practice, like this is his practice. And at that point, I guess I had maybe gone to a couple of T-ball practices or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I said to my mom, I was like, I'm not coming here anymore.
He's practicing.
I don't want a doctor who's practicing. Get me a guy who knows what he's doing.
Oh my God, I love it. Oh, that's so
in not
good.
So many words, I basically said I'm scared of this doctor. I want a professional doctor, not a practice.
I just like someone out of medical school.
But the fact of the matter is that with medicine or emotional awareness or anything, there's just too many variables.
Right.
Your hormones could be off one day, and all of a sudden, I had a guy. Everyone says New Yorkers are so rude. Not everyone says all New Yorkers, but I've heard people say that some whatever.
Parisians and New Yorkers are famously known for being rude.
Being aggressive, yeah. I pulled 3 feet into the crosswalk today on PCH.
Yeah.
And this guy walked in front of my car and was like, yo, what the fuck, man? What are you doing? I'm sorry if you're going to have to bleep all this out.
It's all good.
He's like, what are you doing, man? He's like, and I'm like, I hope I made him feel stupid, because I was like, I made a tiny mistake that caused you to walk this far around, and you want to start a problem with me? And then his wife looked at me and saw that I'm a 250-pound maniac from New York.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm sorry. And then he just walked. He was 60 years old. But my adrenaline did not race at all. My heart rate did not increase. Point being that I had a good day. Had I had an off day, I would have been out of the car with the guy. I just don't have many off days anymore because of all the work. Just like patients, doctors do better work as they practice more.
Right.
I've been practicing this thing for a long time. Every day, all day, every day.
And to be clear, I mean, for me, I practice because I don't want to be in pain, not because I'm a wonderful human being. I'd like to think I'm a good human being, but my impetus for all this practice is that when I don't practice, it hurts a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll shift. I mean, I don't know if anybody ever gets past the final frontier of selfishness, which is transmuting your selfishness into selflessness, into what looks like selflessness. Because I don't believe there's anybody out there that's truly selfless. I just don't. I don't think there's anybody out there. I don't care how much good you do. Kindness is its own reward, and if you're the first recipient of that little bit of kindness that you did, that's a great motivation that's a great way to use your selfishness. Yeah. It's probably the ultimate way to use your selfishness, unless, and obviously I'm not counting people who like do other people favors to hold it over their head or to cash in on it later. I'm talking about somebody who understands that in the moment, the transaction of kindness is its own reward. You feel good, and then the more you focus on the thing you just did, the less you're aware for the next one. So you miss out on opportunities to be of service and to be nice to people and just to remind people that the world is not all bad.
Yeah.
Here's one person that you just ran into that is pretty good. Like, I'm trying very hard.
Yeah.
Not perfect, but let me serve as a reminder that you can go from pretty much near death, to constantly thinking of how I can improve the world around me for my benefit, but also for the people around me's benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, speaking of us...
Let's talk about drinking.
Yeah. Well, no, I was going to ask you. So speaking of us practicing, what does your alcoholism look like? Why would it, because you must have been decently young when you got sober.
Yeah, I was 22.
Yeah.
But I also say that, that's how bad I was.
Yeah. I was 19. The alcoholic in me sees the alcoholic in you.
You didn't get in here because things were gonna get bad eventually.
No. Nobody in there. When I'm 19, my husband was 20. You're 22. Yeah. You don't quit at that age unless things are so bad.
Unless you're going to die.
Yeah. Unless you're exactly. Unless
and
you
don't want to.
And right.
That's part of it.
Or I actually did, but I couldn't.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought I wanted to die back then.
Yeah.
I thought I was homicidal and suicidal.
Right.
I don't know if you've heard me talk about this, but it recently came to attention. This might derail the whole thing, and I'm not trying to because we'll go back. But intrusive thoughts are a big part of my story. Yeah. I think they're responsible for a large part of my alcoholism, that obsession where it's like, once something pops into my head, I can't get it out. It's a form, I think it's a manifestation of anxiety. There's a lot of different pieces to the puzzle, but I was raised, and this is also new. I used to say I came from an alcoholic household, mentally ill, yada, yada. I'm done. I'm not blaming them or holding them responsible. Yeah. I'm the alcoholic.
Right.
It's nothing to do with them at all. The only thing that may have affected me when I was growing up is seeing people drink around me, but I don't know, maybe on 100%, maybe that was 2%. The other 98% is all the anxiety and the physical component and the genetics. And the first time I drank, I had, I think, 12 drinks. I was 13 years old.
13?
6 shots, 6 beers. Oof. Blacked out.
Yeah.
My cousins were like, you drink the SoCo, Southern Comfort, and then you chase it with a beer. And I remember taking the shot and drinking the whole beer and taking the shot, drinking the whole beer. And after the third one, my cousin was like, you don't have to drink the whole beer.
I love it.
Like a sip will do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like a sip is fine.
Yeah.
But from day one, it was like, if it's there, it's going in me.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
As fast as possible.
Yeah.
I think that's why I blacked out so much, is because I drank so fast to try and eventually, obviously it wasn't the case that time, but I was just trying to catch up to how much I had drank in my head already. Yeah. Because I had 3 or 4 drinks in my head before I even started drinking. Right. So now I got to catch up.
Because we're always living in the future and worrying about how many. Yeah, totally.
So excited to drink. Oh my God.
What was your your drink?
So excited. Started off with Southern Comfort and beer, and then
naturally
the next time I drank. So this is my alcoholism and my I guess me being bad at math. I was going to a party, and I was going to get 240s.
Okay.
240-ounce bottles of malt liquor.
Yeah.
And I said, that's too much. Let me get, with those 22 ounces, let me take 5 of those. And then, and I drank all of them.
Yeah.
I funneled one. That was like a year after I drank for the first time.
Because as alcoholics,
That's more, by the way. It's 110 ounces.
Right. Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
We don't leave alcohol behind.
No.
Like we don't.
Not even in the store.
No. No. I asked someone the other day, literally, this was like 3 days ago. I was like, does alcohol go bad? Like, I have no idea.
Who knows?
I don't know.
We'd never know.
All I know is like if it ages, it's better, right? But does any alcohol actually go bad?
It must. It's like going food shopping hungry. Like they say not to go food shopping hungry. Don't go into a liquor store as an alcoholic.
Yeah, just like in general.
As
a general rule.
The amount that you think you need is so much. So then I didn't drink it. So I was raised to believe I would be an alcoholic.
Okay.
My mom was like, you got to be careful. You know, my whole dad's side. My uncle, who actually was sober for 15 years when I came in and helped me figure things out and kind of like just assured me that it would be okay. Yeah. That was his place in my life. He, it's whatever. It's all over there. I'm German and Irish. Like, what was I going to do? I had no chance. So I didn't drink again for another 2 years because I was just so scared. I'm like, I'm doing this wrong. Definitely, this is not, right. I know this is not normal. Right. And then in my senior year of high school, I actually quit playing football because I wanted to drink. That was like the first thing that I lost.
I love you quit playing to drink. Like it's a job.
Well, the games were on Saturday morning.
Right.
And I wanted to drink Friday night.
Right.
And I didn't want to miss a night of drinking for a game.
Right.
Didn't care. Didn't think of anybody else on the team at all. They were pissed. So in 30 seconds, I'll try and explain why that was so inconsiderate of me. Comac High School football had been horrible for like 10 years.
Yeah.
My senior year, the team went all the way to the Long Island Championships, which is unheard of. And in the final game, the center, who's the position that I played, was this, I'm not going to say he's little because he's a man, but he's not as big as I am. And he got run over the whole game. And that's how they lost the game because they just kept running through the middle. They couldn't get anything. And if I was there, 250 pounds versus 150 pounds would have been a much different game. They said they were cursing me the whole ride home.
Yeah.
And that was like the first time I affected a large group of people with my drinking unintentionally. I didn't mean to. It was just like, too bad. I don't care.
Right.
So then I drank pretty much every weekend for the rest of my drinking, which was from 17 to 22.
Okay.
Every weekend, at least, there was, my progression only took form of like how often during the week I drank. I always blacked out when I drank.
Always.
Almost every single time. I honestly, there's one time in college I can remember going to get a beer at a bar with food and then leaving, but definitely blacking out that night. Because I guess I was like holding my breath. I can hold my breath for a little while. As long as I can breathe later, I'll hold my breath as long as you want, But yeah, there was, like most people can count on one hand the amount of times they've drank too much. I can count on one hand the amount of time. I'm making this not statistically accurate. Probably, like my wife can probably count on one hand the amount of times she's drank too much.
Okay.
She doesn't know the last time she had a drink.
Right.
I know it's so I know the day, the time,
what drink it
where
was.
I was,
it's definitely a different. So you blacked out every
time I drank,
every single time you drank. And did you know that other people weren't blacking out? Like, were you like, oh, this isn't normal?
I thought it was kind of funny.
Right.
But I do remember going to my mom when I was 17. I had been drinking for like 3 or 4 months at this time. And I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what was wrong, but I knew something was wrong because, and this is, imagine my mom telling me that I was going to have a drinking problem for my whole life.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. You're going to have a problem.
She said, you're going to have a problem or you have to be careful?
Both. Let's say both.
Okay.
What's the difference between one or the other?
I don't know, because I want to tell my kids to be careful. That's the difference.
Yeah.
No, I guess.
I mean, they're 2.5. You should probably.
I tell them to be careful all the time.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she said, like, be careful, comma, you're going to have a drinking problem.
Okay.
Basically, not like,
Yeah.
So I went to her because I was buying 12 beers or cider, which is what I was drinking in the beginning. and my friends were buying 6, and I was finishing my 12, and I was drinking their last 1 or 2. So if I had a 12-pack and I had 5 friends who had a 6-pack and they all left 2, I now had 10 extra that I could drink. And I would tap into those. I'd be like, you done with that? I'd drink whatever was left over from theirs. And I remember like it was yesterday. She was downstairs on the computer, and I went to her and I'm like, Mom, I think something's wrong. I think I have a problem. I think you were right, basically.
Right, it's happening.
And she goes, well, when you drink, do you feel like you can't stop? I was like, yeah. She goes, when you drink, do you ever forget what happens? Do you black out? I said, that's a blackout? She goes, yeah. I said, yeah, every time. And she goes, you'll probably be fine. Just be careful. Which was, for me...
That's interesting.
It's interesting because alcoholism, drug addiction, it's so hard for everyone to face.
Yeah.
Even faced with it, knowing you were going to have to face it one day.
Yeah.
She couldn't say, you have to stop right now. She didn't want to believe that I had a problem.
Right.
Probably.
Right.
I can imagine like she just wanted to be like, maybe you'll be all right. But now I'm going to worry for sure.
Yeah.
And then I drank like that for the next one, like I said, 5 years. But I also did a lot of drugs, and I smoked pot every single day, all day, every day.
And what did drugs and alcohol do for you?
Besides the excitement and the anticipation, it's funny because I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, what did it do for me? Like, why did I value it so much?
Because you didn't remember most of, right? Because you're blacking out.
No, it was mostly anticipation and excitement.
Right.
And it was that relief, that sense of ease and comfort that comes from the first drink.
Right.
There's no ease and comfort from the 20th drink.
No, usually it's very, very fuzzy.
There's nothing. Yeah, it's just like you're throwing quarters into a well. You know what I mean? There's nothing's happening.
Yeah.
But that first drink, first 1 or 2 drinks. Honestly, I'm going to back up. First drink, because I know that with the second drink or the third drink, there's supposed to be some kind of a buzz that happens before you get drunk.
Right.
I never felt that. I went from sober to insanely intoxicated.
Right, because you drank so fast.
So fast. I would have 3 drinks in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like really, really fast.
Yeah, because you're drinking to get it done.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned...
Drinking to disappear.
Right. You mentioned that you played football.
Yeah.
Was the sports culture kind of... Was that part of that? I mean, you left left football, but was it...
No.
It wasn't...
I mean, it may have been. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the kids who played football drank at parties.
But not like...
I drank at parties, and they would be there. I still remained friends with some of them, but I didn't. I remember there was one summer, maybe it was summer. I'm trying to think of when this happened. It was a school year. There was one kid who didn't drink yet, and he just wanted to hang out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was just happy to be around people.
Yeah.
And he had a minivan. We used to call it the party van.
Yeah.
And we would get 7 of us in there.
Yeah.
And oh my God, just all of us would be so drunk. Fast forward, some of the kids that I used to drink with, one of them is in recovery. Yeah. One of them I've speak to, he's down in Florida. The guy who used to drive wound up drinking a little bit. I think he's fine. He seems to be doing okay. There's a couple of people that came out of that party van that never left the party van.
Yeah.
Then their lives reflected.
Yeah.
And it's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always wanted more from my life. I always knew that I was capable of doing great things if I was given the opportunities.
Yeah.
And I knew that alcohol was going to either A, end my life completely, or B, keep me from living the life that I really wanted to live. And I just wasn't willing to see what would happen if I could pull it off with the drinking.
What was the thing that made you, we would call it your bottom, but what was the thing that made you say, okay, I'm going to go to AA, I'm going to get help, I'm very fascinated by the fact that alcoholics don't have an off switch. Yeah.
At all for alcohol. There's no, I don't know, you asked me, you called me out on a scientific fact before. Don't do it on this.
Okay, I won't ask for sources.
From what I understand.
Okay.
If you put a bowl of food in front of a dog, let's say.
Yeah.
Or another animal. I'm not sure which animal. I know there are certain animals out there that will just keep eating and eating and eating and eating until they die. Yeah. Because their bodies, they don't have they don't know that there's more in the cabinet.
Right.
They're just like, this food here, I got to eat it right now.
Right.
Which is kind of how I do it sometimes.
Yeah, I was like, are those animals
Is that
meat? Is that why you got to use my example?
So alcoholics don't have an off switch. They don't have the I'm getting buzzed, I should stop thing. It's a very different reaction. I actually heard in a meeting here a guy talk about the law of diminishing return and how it just doesn't apply to alcoholics.
No, we don't understand it at all.
It's like, I'm thirstier now.
Yeah.
Much thirstier than when I had the first drink. I'll need 17 more, please.
Oh, God.
Whereas if you were in the desert and you came out of the desert, you got a glass of water, you drink it. You might take a second. Third, you're going to take a sip or half, and you're going to put it down. You're going to be like, I'm hydrated. I'm good.
Right.
I know I was in the desert for 3 months, but I'm actually feeling pretty good right now.
Right. Like I've achieved what I need to achieve, so I'm going to stop.
But that I think is the experience for normal drinkers.
Right. They've achieved what they need to achieve, so
they feel slightly looser.
Right. Yeah.
A little bit like, more handsome or pretty or funny or charismatic or whatever.
Right.
And then
they got what they needed from it.
Yeah.
Right. We just never there's just not enough to get what we need. There's too much need for
supply and demand.
Yeah, really. It's really a supply and demand issue. We have so much need.
And the more you drink, like they say, tolerance, which I'm sure there's definitely something to that. But I think about the movie Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I think is a metaphor for alcoholism. I have no idea. It's definitely a metaphor for some sort of void. Because have you seen it?
Not in a long time.
So in the movie, Rick Moranis gets this little cute plant that wants his attention.
Right.
And he gives it his attention. And it starts to grow. And it starts to love him more.
Right.
So picture that plant being alcoholism or the void inside of you.
Right.
And it feels good to give it to yourself. It's like, I feel this is good. I feel
this works.
I feel like part of a crowd now. I feel like I can make friends. And then all of a sudden you keep feeding it and it grows, and the more it grows, the more it needs to eat, the more it eats, the bigger it grows, so on and so forth, till however many years later you have this massive plant screaming, "Feed me, Seymour," from the other room and you can't sleep.
Right.
That's alcoholism.
Yeah,
that's a plant.
You're right. That's a great example of how it feels.
I've never looked it up, but I'm sure it has to be it.
But that is how it feels.
Yeah.
It is how it feels. And, for me, drugs were a big part of my story. And that's really how drugs felt for me. And it was like, oh God, I gotta get off this train. This is like, it's
gonna crash.
I don't know how to stop this train. Like, I need more and more and more and more. And this is just, it's not even fun anymore.
No. I kind of pictured myself like running up to a cliff and trying to stop right before the edge of the cliff.
Right. You're still.
That's how I made sense of it. In the end, I was like, if I keep running up to that cliff, I'm going to fall off one day. I just knew I wasn't going to make it.
And that was enough to bring you to recovery?
No. So the whole starting but not being able to stop thing, that goes into the last day that I drank.
Okay.
So the last day I drank was May 19th, 2002. And then I continued to smoke pot, but I'll get to that. So I went to Great Adventure with this restaurant I worked at, and like 30 people on a bus. Restaurant people, be drinking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Restaurant people, be drinking.
Yeah.
And 7 o'clock in the morning, drinking all kinds of mixes of whatever.
Yeah.
All tasted good. Breakfast juice, mimosas, vodka and orange juice, whatever. It all tasted good.
Yeah.
And when we got to Great Adventure, I was hammered. And I had my little sister with me I was 21. She was 19 at the time.
Okay.
So I had her with me, and we were there all day. I was smoking weed in the park and whatever. We get back on the bus at 5 o'clock, and we drink from 5 till about 8 because it took that long to get home. By the time we got back to the restaurant, I was so drunk. But I was just getting started because the sun was still out. Like I knew I had time, which for me, that's the other thing besides the ease and comfort of the first drink. Knowing that I had time to drink and resources and money and safety, that was also very comforting to me.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I was going to be able to basically be dead for the next 8 hours. Honk if you love dying and being dead. Yeah, like honk, honk. So I dragged her across the street to the bar, and
that'd be a good Tinder profile.
Yeah, honk if you love dying and being dead.
Yeah.
So I dragged her across the street to the bar. 19, can come in, can't drink. So she's sitting there with me.
Right.
It's 8 o'clock. Then it's 9 o'clock. Then it's 10. Hey, can we leave? Like, can we go home? 2 hours. If somebody kept me anywhere for 2 hours now, oh my God. 11 o'clock. Should I, what are we doing? 12 o'clock. Yeah. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm getting drunker and drunker and drunker.
And you've been drinking since 7 a.m.,
7 a.m., yeah. So finally, more of that same thing. Can we leave now? No, I'm getting angry for her asking me now because now she's really starting to piss me off because she's cutting into my drinking time. I sent her home in a cab at 3:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
Because I had a half an hour left to drink. according to New York State.
Right.
4 o'clock, you're allowed to drink till. So she goes home in the cab. If anything happened to her, oh my God, it would have, been life-altering in the worst way possible. So I wake up the next afternoon, let's be honest.
The next
2 o'clock or whatever it is. And my mom's sitting in the kitchen just ripping cigarettes. Just like she's waiting for me to get up. And she goes, you sent your sister home in a cab last night at 3:30 because you had a half an hour left to drink, even though you had been drinking all day long. She goes, are you out of your mind? I was like, not a big deal.
Right.
She's like, you need to stop drinking tonight or get out of the house tonight. Those are your two choices. And it was like, how dare you bring, that's how I felt kind of.
Right.
But at the same time, thinking about it in retrospect, I don't know if she would have kicked me out that night. It didn't matter because I figured the fact that she was bringing it to me in this package with this severity meant maybe I should take a closer look at it than I had ever before. Mm-hmm. And I did a little bit of math, and I was 21 at the time, and I said, oh my God, I understand how people become homeless now. Because I was like, if today's Monday, maybe I could go sleep at so-and-so's house for two nights, but then their parents will definitely ask me to leave because I'll come home drunk. Then I'll go somewhere else. Maybe I'll stay a week there, maybe because their parents aren't home that much. Maybe I'll have nowhere to go after that. I have a couple of money for a couple of nights in a hotel. Then I'll sleep in my car. And then once you're in your car, people don't realize you're homeless at that point.
Right.
Like that's not,
Yeah.
you're homeless. If you don't have a home, if your home is on wheels and it's not an RV, like you're homeless. And then I was like, I will be homeless in a month. Oh my God, that's how it happens.
Yeah.
And I went to a meeting that night.
Okay. And how did you knew to go to a meeting from the uncle?
No, I don't remember which came first. I do remember calling him, but I think my mom, I was in the Yellow Pages. This is how long ago it was. Holy shit.
I hate when stuff like this comes up.
The Yellow Pages.
Did you say Yellow Pages? Okay.
And I remember I remember a friend of mine went to Apple Daytop, which is a community in Long Island that was like rehab oriented. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember looking that up. And then I remembered that a woman at the restaurant that I worked at, who I waited on, was a spiritual advisor. And she had given me her card.
Okay.
And I told my mom, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to do something. And she already knew what I had to do in her mind. But I came out of my room with this spiritual advisor card. I'm like, I'm going to call Barbara. And she goes, you can call her, but you're going to AA.
Right.
That's the whole, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
There's no other, I was like, oh, I thought I had options.
Right.
I thought we were going to figure this out.
Barbara was on the table.
I thought we were going to heal my soul.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, AA. All right, I'll go. I'll check it out. And because I thought I knew nothing about it. I'm sure everyone has this. But I thought, I swear to God, it was a Tuesday. I thought I was going to have to call, sign up, get approved, register, buy a ticket, go to the stadium or wherever they have these things, and then get into it. And I called the hotline all cocky, and the woman's like, all right, there's one at 7 o'clock tonight. I was like, what? Where? Yeah. Please tell me it's like in New York City so I can't go. She's like, no, it's it's on this street. In the same town as you're in right now. Yeah. And I was like, you kidding me? What? My luck, I thought that was the one. Like that one near my house was like the one for the whole of New York. And then when I got to AA, something in the big book talks about that my mom went to Al-Anon for a little while, and she came home crying one day because I forgot the passage. It's something like that indescribable feeling of knowing that you're home or something like that. The energy, the indescribable electricity, something. It was something in that room. The presence of the people healing in that room healed me almost instantaneously. And I had that psychic change like pretty much as soon as I walked in. And I think I only was able to get sober because I had the psychic change and then I did the steps and then I had the spiritual awakening as a result of the steps. But like I said, I did hang on to smoking pot because I thought Alcoholics Anonymous is, we're dealing with alcohol
like
here. We're dealing with alcohol, cunning, baffling, powerful.
Right.
Not pot. Right. Nice, kind.
Gentle.
Open. Not cunning. Whatever the opposite of cunning is.
Right. So.
But it was more of the same.
Hi, I'm Peter Loeb, CEO and co-founder of Lionrock Recovery. We're proud to sponsor The Courage to Change, and I hope you find that it's an inspiration. I was inspired to start Lionrock after my sister lost her own struggle with drugs and alcohol back in 2010. Because we provide care online by live video, Lionrock clients can get help from the privacy of home. We offer flexible schedules that fit our clients' busy lives. And of course, we're licensed and accredited, and we accept most private health insurance. You can find out more about us at lionrockrecovery.com or call us for a free consultation, no commitment, at 800-258-6550. Thank you.
How long did you smoke pot for?
For 4 months. May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, like for 4 or 5 months. And then people just loved me. I would go into the meeting. I'd say, I'm high right now. I'm going to get high when I leave here. I can't stop. I only go to the meeting on Tuesday and Thursday night. I wish there was other meetings around here. Like there was 7 today in this building, but okay. I knew nothing.
Right.
And then finally one day, 2 things happened actually. This guy, Charlie, my sponsor, came up to me after the meeting and he goes, and this guy I trusted implicitly about recovery because he was a heroin addict. He had a liver that was completely crapped out. He needed a liver. He couldn't get one because he was a heroin addict. He was in and out of the rooms for 25 years. By some miracle, he got a liver. When from the day he got the liver, he never used ever again. He was sober like 17 years when he died. So when I came in, I was like, man, that guy gets it. Like he understands that this is very hard. So he came up to me after the meeting and he was like, listen, what you're doing is not a mortal sin, but you need to, just give it a shot. He didn't even say you need to. Yeah. He goes, just try it without it. Just stop smoking pot for 90 days. If you want to smoke pot, smoke pot. Nobody hates you. Nobody's mad at you, but you should give it a shot. That happened. I was at a meeting one night where it was 3 or 4 people, because it was some kind of holiday and raining and something happened and it was like nobody in the meeting. And so we just all talked for an hour and I told these guys how many meetings I was going to. And this guy, Jimmy, looked at me and he goes, you're not going to make it. And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
He goes, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand what he meant.
Right.
I was like, what do you mean I'm not going to make it? Then I got like belligerent. He's like, you're not going to make it. You're going to die. If you keep doing 2 meetings a week, you're not going to make it. Like, I don't know how else to say it to you. And then finally when he said, I don't know how else to say it, I was like, oh, he's saying it that way because that's what it is.
Right.
He's not being like,
right,
he's not speaking in codes. He's telling
like
me.
He's actually like, what are you trying to say?
Yeah, I'm saying it so simply though.
I really feel like.
And then the final straw was going into a meeting one night at that same group, and the guy who was running the meeting was scrambling around trying to find a speaker. And I kind of asked somebody, I'm like, what's happening? Why he doesn't have a speaker? And the guy goes, no, the speaker couldn't be here because he's at a funeral. His sponsee died. He went out one last time and died. Yeah. And it just so happened that the guy had about as much time as I thought I had at that time. He had like 6 months. Yeah. I thought I had 5 months.
Right.
And I was actually planning something.
Yeah.
I was planning I know I need to stop smoking weed. Let me get some gin, because that's what I like drinking at the end.
Right.
So gross.
Yeah, really gross.
Gin, cocaine, ecstasy, mushroom. I'll get everything, do it all. And this is like the insanity of what I made a little joke before. Like, I just want to get it out of my system by putting it all into my system.
Right.
That makes perfect sense.
I really do understand that so deeply.
That's that addict logic.
Yeah, makes sense.
It really does, though.
No, I know it does. It does. I know that other people would disagree who are normal.
But you're wrong.
But you don't understand.
But you're wrong, and I hate you.
One last beautiful
Get it out of my system.
Yeah, although all those drugs combined probably wouldn't be.
By putting it into your system.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like me, but
I have to process all of it.
Fast forward into my alcoholism, 2 or 3 years in, I remember having a horrible time with this girl I was dating. And I was on the phone with my friend Joe, and he's like, it doesn't have to end with you on the lawn spitting in her father's face, fighting him like it happened to me. And I was like, I could see that happening because things were that crazy with this girl.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? You're right. I said, let me go. I'm going to call her to tell her I'm not going to call her anymore. And then I'll call you back.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? Like, do you hear yourself?
Yeah.
Do not call her.
Yeah, you don't.
Do not call lists. People don't call people on the do not call list to say, we're not going to be calling you. That defeats the purpose, but call. I'm so dumb.
That one last call.
One last call. Just to let you know, I'm not going to be calling you anymore.
What could go wrong?
And maybe I'll call you again in a week. Probably.
And spit in your dad's face.
And fight him and go to jail. Just like Joe said. I think getting sober young, you're gonna come up against things that normal people don't come up against.
Yeah, for sure.
You have opportunities to build a life that you want.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, when people told me not to date in my first, like they were, don't date your first year. I'm like, okay, Stu. You've been married for 12 years, but okay.
Yeah. Like, let's take it down a notch.
I'm sure you know what you're talking about. Yeah.
How about just tell me not to get married in the first year? I can commit to that.
Yeah, that's fine. No dating, no relationships at all.
I mean, they're right in the sense that, like, you're not who you're going to become, and whoever you attract is probably trash. But
you need some distractions.
Totally.
Yeah. But they're wrong in the Susie Orman sense. Susie Orman, you know who she is?
Yes.
If you would just stop drinking coffee, like, okay, but what do I do about not drinking coffee, though?
Listen here, Susie.
Yeah. If you don't spend money on coffee, at the end of the month, you'll have $120.
But then I won't have coffee.
Yeah. So how do you fix that?
Susie, that's wrong.
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
Oh, man, I hate people like that. They make it seem so simple. It's like, it's just not that simple.
It's not, alcoholism is not a math equation, right? Because a math equation has a logical, like, if you add this to this, you'll get this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, alcoholism, you can add, like, it's, like, it doesn't, there's no equation. It just is. Like,
imagine if you added 2 plus 2, but the 2 had a trap door in it that an 8 dropped out. It's like, wait,
exactly.
what?
That's exactly what it's like. And then brought his friend over, and his friend had a little 3 on him.
Yeah, 6 divided by 2 if you move it, but the 2's at 47 now, so it makes no sense at all.
No sense at all. Whatever.
It does. I mean, listen, I've been around, and you've been around long enough to know that there are plenty of people who do the work and don't make it.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anybody make it and not do the work. So I'm erring on the side of what has worked for the majority of people, because I know also that it's work every single day. 10 years, when I celebrated 10 years, that was the closest I ever came to drinking.
I get that.
Yeah, because there was a lot of stuff going on personally. Most of it was good. Some of it was not good. But the lesson that I learned is that if time doesn't matter, they say. It does if you're using it properly. It doesn't if you're sitting still.
Also because you're so far away. Like, I don't know how you feel, especially when you're young. You're so different. You're so far away. Your life nothing looks the same. So you're so far away from it, you think, or you don't think about it anymore.
Yeah. No, it was more like I wasn't using my time to create spiritual distance between me and a drink. I was depending on the time to do the work for me.
Right.
And that's not how it works. It's as if, you're sitting in a car and like, you in your mind you're going 60 miles an hour, but at the end of the hour you've gone 0 miles because you're not moving at all.
Right. Yeah.
So it's I don't know, that's the best way I can explain it. And you got to be using your time to create spiritual distance between you and your problem.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And creating spiritual closeness between you and the solution. And it's funny because like when you stop drinking, I've never had a pink cloud. I didn't experience the pink cloud.
Me either. I don't know what that's about.
Hey, psycho. Yeah. You're good?
It sounds really good.
I'm the worst I've ever been. Yeah.
I'm like, still waiting.
Yeah. One day.
13 years.
Imagine you wait really long for a pink cloud and then you're like, oh, this is pretty good. Maybe some people have to wait long. I don't know. I have no desire to have a pink cloud. My whole life is like the end of It's a Wonderful Life when George Bailey's running down the street yelling Merry Christmas at everybody because he can't believe he's alive.
Right.
Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
He's like a dry drunk in the beginning, and then he's like, Clarence shows him what's up.
Yeah.
The name thing, maybe, because my name is George. I don't know. I feel a lot of kinship to that movie because I feel like I've lived 2 lives. Yeah. I feel like I have. I have.
I feel like more than 2 minimum.
Probably 4 or 5.
Yeah. But you said something interesting. You said, I was trying to disappear.
Yeah.
And what I find interesting about that is that since I have known you, you have been trying to appear is the wrong. You have been showing yourself. And I remember early, like back in that you were doing the Happy is the New Rich. I mean, seriously, I thought you were going to be on Oprah when in 2009.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy's serious. This Happy isn't like, he's all about it. He's all about it. And I loved it. And you were, so it was when you said that, I thought, how interesting that your alcoholism was all about trying to disappear. And your life in recovery has been all about appearing, been, for lack of a better term, like all about bringing you to the world.
Yeah.
And what has becoming more and more visible. Mm-hmm. Has that brought up any of the old feelings that brought you to the point where you wanted to disappear? And how did that change come about?
So I had my time in California was almost all good, almost all of it. There's one time in particular, and I'm not going to say the guy's name because he's actually a nice guy, and I don't think he meant to do this, but I remember being at a meeting, and this is when I was like, vote for George. Every day, all day. I was so annoying. I know I was annoying, but I didn't see it then. I was just like, I want to win.
Oh,
win your own show on the Oprah Winfrey Network.
Okay.
Happy is the New Rich was the video blog that was born out of that I created because to get to the voting link was kind of difficult. So I just redirected happyisthenewrich.com to the voting link.
Okay.
So
okay.
I remember
that was what it was. It was a new show, your own show.
Yeah, pumping it out. Win your own show on the Oprah Winfrey Network.
Okay.
Submit your video, vote for me, whatever.
See, I don't even remember.
I talked about it so much that somebody who was chairing the meeting, I was speaking, they said, so tell me about this Oprah Winfrey thing. And everybody in the meeting started laughing. And I was like, oh, I guess you guys got me. Yeah. And I wanted to die. I remember feeling like...
Why?
Because it was a joke on me that I didn't know about beforehand. Felt that same like 7, 8-year-old feeling.
About you,
they were talking about how annoying I was and how they wished whatever I would stop or there's no way it's going to happen or whatever. Yeah. But that's the kind of person I was and that's the kind of person that I still am. And I feel no like... haha, look at me now. But I'm not going to make excuses. That was just one of those times where putting myself out there, that was a time that I wanted to disappear. Other than that, I don't know, I'm proud of who I am. I'm not ashamed of myself anymore. It's actually being visible and being public has really made me double down on my, like everything, behavior. Like I can't be responding to people in the comments telling them to go themselves.
Right.
Ellen's watching.
Yeah.
Like I can't do that.
Yeah.
Companies are watching. Other people are watching.
Right.
That's why I'm saying like I need to be above the word trolls. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about the whole, like feel the same way about the coffee thing. People say, just don't respond to the trolls. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do with all this rage?
Yeah.
Because they tell me they wish my mom would die of cancer. Like how do I, not all of them, but there have been some really nasty messages, completely unsolicited.
I'm kind of I'm a bit naive because I don't understand.
Oh, it's bad.
I am a bit naive because I'm like, who would say that? Who?
Well, something like that at this point in my life would roll off my back.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like the more aggressive the comment is, the less I value it.
Right.
If somebody was like, hey, it looks like you gained 3 pounds, I'd be like, what?
Yeah. Whoa, dude.
Which video are you talking about?
Yeah.
If somebody said, it looks like you gained 100 pounds, I'd be like, haha, that's obviously not true.
Right.
Like the more extreme the comment is, the less I value it.
Right.
But yeah, there's some interesting people out there, and I have to remember a time in my life when I would have done that. Definitely would have done that. If I had, like I heard the fat Jewish say, if it was the 90s and I had access to Pauly Shore and I could tell him that he sucked and I hope he died, I would have done that because that's like what kids do. That's what I believe that. I just don't relate. Like that's not who. Yeah.
It wasn't my form. I was a serious asshole, but it just wasn't my form of.
Yeah. No, there's definitely something you feel like a little,
Yeah. My form was more like, let me make you feel stupid let me politely show you that you're stupid.
Yeah.
But the outward, like.
In writing.
But like a
publicly.
Trail. Yeah.
In writing, screenshots.
Yeah, I mean, that is,
You want to hear something funny, a payoff of shifting your perspective and focusing on the positive? Tank's Good News was a different account before that I never posted on.
Oh, really?
I started an account. It was at Troll Blast. And what I was going to do was grab screenshots of people's awful comments and make them public and permanent. That way they couldn't delete them.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to start making people like accountable for their like this is you said this, man. Yeah. That's your picture and that's your name. Especially on Facebook. You look on Facebook sometimes, it's
man. Yeah.
Aunt
like,
Carol,
dude, your mom.
I can see this.
Yeah.
You're a psycho. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I was going to grab screenshots of comments and post them on this page. And at the last minute when Hurricane Harvey was going on, I saw all this great stuff going on in the middle of this tragedy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to grab like 15, because there was like so much. You couldn't even handle all of it.
Yeah.
So much good things coming out of it. Was rain was the one thing. Then there was 80 different good things going on.
Right.
All like, because of the rain. So like, there's no triumph without tragedy. It's a stupid cliche thing to say, but
true.
There's otherwise there's just
Yeah.
like, okay, you picked your neighbor up in a jet ski. Why?
Yeah.
She was going to die. Oh,
Right. Oh, now it's
important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have been able to get the jet ski there otherwise.
right. But logistically speaking.
Yeah. They require water. So I changed the name of it. I tried to change it to Tank's Goodness, and I couldn't do that. Then I tried to, because there was some stupid pit bull has Tank's Goodness at the Instagram handle with like 2 pictures from 4 years ago. Then I couldn't get Tank Goodness because it just, I forgot what happened with that. And then I made it Tank's Good News because Tank Good News doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Tank's Good News, posted like 15 things on it, tagged it from Tank Sinatra, and like overnight it was 30,000 followers. Then I did it again the next day, another 30,000. And it was at 100,000 before the end of like the week.
So let's walk through just quickly the things that you've done. So you tried to get on the Oprah show. And then...
Oh, you want to talk about the good stuff now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I had to do this recently, and it was really, like, powerful.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going from what I know, which clearly your baby is 2, which jeez.
He's a toddler.
Yeah, right. So this shows you how much I remember. But I remember Happy as a New Rich.
We got to go back, because I stopped drinking. Then I did stand-up comedy when I was 23.
Okay. Oh, you did? Okay, so I thought stand-up comedy was in the past, like 5.
It's in the past year, but it's also when I was 23.
Okay, so that
then
was
when I was
the start.
25, I went back to college and graduated.
Right, University of Maryland, right?
No, I graduated from Farmingdale State.
You didn't go to University of Maryland?
I did, but I didn't graduate from there.
Okay.
But that was a big deal because it was like a very good thing that I did. I had an internship at Def Jam.
Right.
Huge music fan.
I listened to that. It didn't count for college credit.
Ugh, so stupid. My fault, though.
Yeah, totally. No. Yeah.
Kind of hers, but mine. Everything's mine.
She could take some, but
Interned at Def Jam, finished college, moved to California at Def Jam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I wasn't doing anything. It was actually like one of the worst jobs I ever had.
But it sounds cool.
The woman I worked for was a psycho. She was like so angry all the time. She wanted to be Diddy. First day there, she goes, I want this, and that. Go downstairs, get my breakfast. I was like, okay. So I take the elevator downstairs. Before I even get off of the elevator, she's calling my phone, screaming at me, where am I? I'm like, no, well, now I forgot your order. Because the adrenaline's going. What did you want again?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. First day. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
You're not that important.
Yeah.
You're not. Nobody is.
Yeah.
I don't care. Jay-Z was the president of Def Jam at that time, which is kind of like part of the beauty of the fact that I got to work there because I'm a huge Jay-Z fan. But don't talk to me like that.
Yeah.
I'm an adult.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just completely disregarded her for the rest of the time there. She asked me to do something. I'd say yes. I wouldn't engage. I wouldn't say thank you. I wouldn't say please. Nothing.
Yeah.
Just here you go.
Yeah.
And I'd go around. So then I moved to California, which was a major check on my spiritual checklist. I tried not to say check again there. Then I came back from California. I got married. Then I got a job where I started making money, which was great. I know they say it doesn't matter, but
it helps.
It does help.
Yeah.
It takes the sting out of being alive.
Yeah.
Then, all the other stuff. I started doing stand-up again. We started making a movie. The Instagram pages took off. And I was good. Like, I wasn't...
The movie was before...
No, the movie is being made now.
Oh, the movie's... Is
the
that...
movie we started making like 2.5 years ago.
Okay,
called Meme Gods.
And so the Instagram accounts take off.
Yeah.
You start making your own meme content. Did you... Was that part of the plan?
No.
Okay.
I treated... Because I always treated every job like it was a stepping stone. Like it was just tied me over until the next big thing where I could finally be lazy and make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. I thought that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah.
Still do, kind of, somewhat. So I was selling fence and I said to myself, I'm going to treat this job like I'm treating my marriage. Like, this is my wife now. I don't look and try to date and like see what I can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the job, I was like, I'm going to do this as well as I possibly can. every single day.
Yeah.
Treat it like there's no other options.
With Instagram?
No, with the fence company. Yeah.
Okay.
And when I started doing that, I started making good money.
Yeah.
And then the more, the better you get at sales, the more free time you have, because it's like you walk in somewhere and people just say yes because you're so good at it. And they're just like, I just want to wear, I don't know, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Price is good, honey. Get a check,
Yeah.
So when I had free time, I was digging in the internet. Long story short, I emailed the Fat Jewish. I said, I'm on the internet all day. Can I send you stuff? And he said yes, which is very unlike him. He just took a liking to me for some reason. And I would send him stuff, and then he started reposting. He started tagging me in his captions. And it went from nothing to like 300,000 in a year because of him only. And obviously the page was good. People would get there and like convert or whatever, but he's largely responsible for where I am today, for the beginning of it anyway.
Yeah.
And two things happened. One, he kind of cut me off. I think maybe you're
not in contact with him?
No, not really. No, there's no beef. I mean, there's like maybe from him, but not from me. I just can't hate the guy because he helped me out so much.
Yeah.
He felt kind of like I duped him, like I was a normal guy with kids, and then all of a sudden now I'm going to try and be a meme account.
Okay.
Like I tricked him, which is not what happened.
Yeah.
But once he cut me off, I started making my own memes. And once I started making my own memes, then that's when it really took off. And that I was doing back when like not a lot of people were doing that.
Yeah.
Everyone was reposting. Nobody was grabbing a picture, writing a funny caption, tweeting it, screenshotting it, cropping it, watermarking it, posting it, writing another caption. It's a lot. And I was doing that like 10 times a day.
Wow.
Yeah. I was manic with it.
Wow.
And the more you put out there, obviously the more people have to decide, all right, I like this guy, I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
And people liked me, and I'm still amazed. Ryan Holiday is a writer. You know who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he talks about, and I'm listening to Ego is the Enemy again right now, and he talks about the people who do it slow and methodically and how much more gratifying their success is, and it almost seems like it's a surprise to them, but it's not, but it is. Like, it's just, my whole life has been one big surprise to me after another. And I'm not saying that to be cute or anything. Like, I really feel like the life...
Knowing you, I believe that.
Yeah, it looked like it was not going to be good.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't quit selling fence for a long time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I believe that. And
I mean, every success, my wife, my job, my fitness, everything about me is like, I have to pinch myself sometimes because I can't believe how good it is. And I don't really talk about that because... I spoke at a group anniversary. My sponsor's partner asked me to speak at a group anniversary. And I was like, it was like 70 years, big group in Long Island. I was very excited. I said, I'm gonna like get into it. And then I said, before I said all this stuff, I'm like, I don't want you guys to think. The reason I don't share this is because I don't want you to be sitting there with 3 months thinking, if I don't get 2 million followers on Instagram, my sobriety is not worth anything. Or if I don't make $1 million, my sobriety is not worth anything. Or if I don't get married, or if I don't get in shape, or if anything. Your sobriety is everything. Yeah. And everything springs from that if you can get that intact. Yeah. I'm not saying you'll intern at Def Jam, but you'll do like your version of that. Right. Whatever your version of having an Instagram meme page is, it's possible now.
Your passion project or whatever that fits your life.
Whatever it is, you'll figure it out. It doesn't make it easy. It makes it possible. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. It doesn't make it easy. It makes it possible. I like that.
It's impossible otherwise.
Yeah.
You ever hear people talk about, I don't know how I did all this stuff when I was using?
Yeah.
Like, you did nothing when you were using. You sat in the house and got high all day. What do you mean you don't know how you did all this stuff when you were using?
I mean...
You didn't live.
But you don't know... I don't know. I feel like you don't know that until you get to the other... Like, there's just so much you don't realize till you get to
You don't care.
Yeah. Till you get to the other side.
Yeah.
Like what it feels like to do things differently.
To be effective. Yeah. And a contributing member of society.
One thing I've noticed with you over the years, with like in the Lionrock journey, you helped me start the first Lionrock online AA meeting. Yeah. And East Meets West. God. I don't even know how you volunteered. I don't even remember, but you were in New York, and seriously, that's the first, and now there's so many meetings, there are chairs from all over the country. Wow. There are different types of meetings, there's a huge community now of and it's all volunteer, same way that AA is run in person, and you, my friend, were the first leader of that and helped me start that, and I said, when other people were encouraging me to do that, I said, it won't work. It won't work. It won't work. It won't work. And you were volunteered in that meeting, stuck around, and it's still at the same time. And
wow.
And I've always, same with the Fanny Packs. And for me, I'm the organizer, right? Like you're the show up and I'll just say yes guy. Like that's you. I see that about you. You're like, okay, I'm here. Okay, I'll participate. Somehow I joke that if I write my memoirs, it's going to be called accidental leadership. Yeah. Because it's like I want to, it's like I end up starting something. I'm like, I just wanted it to exist. I didn't want to start it, and
you did.
Yeah. But you are someone who takes risks, tries new things, and follows what you love. And that's always been clear to me, like willing to say yes. I mean, very much willing to say yes. And I think that has been a part of your recovery and also your success.
Yeah. Yeah. I, like writing the Fat Jewish in email was not part of the plan.
Right. It's
like, just okay, like 2:30 on a Tuesday. I was like, let me write this motherfucker, see what he says.
Yeah. Why not? What's he gonna,
You know what's fun? It all stems from this, and it's not the most positive example, but I remember being young-ish, and my oldest sister was, I don't know, maybe she was like, I don't know. I don't want to say she was 12 because it's going to sound weird. Maybe she was 15 or whatever. I don't know. And there was some guy standing by the stationery store by our house, and he was in a car, I think, and he was staring at her, and he was like, just being weird, and she was uncomfortable, and then she's like, I'm going to go see what this guy wants. And she just like walked over and was like, what's up?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that's the bravest thing I've ever seen. I wanted to die. The guy wasn't even looking at me.
Yeah.
So that boldness where it's just like, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
That might not be where it came from, where it comes from, but that was the first time I saw it, and I was like, wow, that looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
I want to like emulate that.
Yeah.
Be bold.
Yeah, be bold. I like that.
See what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. And, I don't know if you saw this, but I tagged you in. My dad wrote something on Facebook about how, like, his feed is just depressing.
Oh, really?
And, just about like everybody's right, just like the stuff, right? Like, how often do we report like, hey, I'm having a good day? Like, no, we're talking about like, so often we lead with, my life's crazy, this is this. And I turned him on to like, here's this news, feed that talks about all these good things that people are doing. And I just dig that. I think a lot of memes go over my head. Yeah. Because I don't know how that happens, but
why is Kyle punching sheetrock?
Yeah,
is this funny?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Dak just rolls his eyes at me.
Yeah.
But I'm like, can I don't. So, but Tank's good news very much speaks to me in that it highlights a lot. It highlights the good that humanity is doing, which we so need, because I feel like we're inundated with what is bad and wrong.
Well, that's what gets people going.
Yeah.
Most people. The media is actually, I don't blame them. I wish they would take a little bit more responsibility and onus for changing the way that people see the world. But if I post something and it gets 10 retweets and then I post something else and it gets 1,000 retweets, next time I'm probably going to post something along the lines of what the
right.
other, you know what I mean?
Right.
So same thing with commercials, people tuning in.
Right.
But what they've figured out and what I figured out is if you cause a visceral reaction in somebody, they will stay tuned and tune back in and tell people about it.
Yeah.
They're just going for that gut punch, adrenaline rush,
like
mouth dry.
Which feeling?
I'm going for the crying, warm, but I get the same reaction, same extreme. And I think that 5% or so of your life is like tragic, horrible disaster. The other 5% is elation, euphoria. Your mom dies, you have a baby, you get fired from your job, you get a promotion. Like there's the extremes. And then the middle 90% is gray nothingness. And depending on how you see it, like if you're I remember being told by my college professor, it's too long of a story, so I'll just tell you the end. He goes, if you're going to react at a 10 every time your car doesn't start, you got to react at a 2 every time it does, just to even it out.
Right.
You can't react at a 0. You got to be a little happy your car started.
Right.
It's a good thing, right?
Right.
Car starts 300 times, so 300 times 2 is 600. 600 versus 10. Now all of a sudden, your life is 590 points of awesomeness.
Right.
It's insurmountable awesomeness. If you look at everything that goes right, Like there's a Paralympic skier who was blind and he used to ski by like sound.
Yeah.
I read this in this book, The Brain, one of the best books I ever read in my entire life.
Brain. Okay.
David Eagleman, yeah, unreal. Because he said that like you don't see with your eyes, you see with your brain.
Right.
So if your eyes are not processing stuff, the part of the brain that
the rest
processes
will take over.
Sound will be bigger and touch will be bigger. It'll like atrophy and make room. So this guy had a surgery to correct his vision and it ruined his life.
Oh.
Yeah, he threw up for the first month. He was dizzy for the first 6 months. Couldn't ski anymore. Could barely go outside. Look at all these ridges in this room. Like he saw every detail of everything because it was like all on him. I'm not saying you should do that with your life, but there is a lot more that goes right every day than goes wrong.
Right.
Every single day.
Yeah, absolutely.
My heart didn't stop again.
Yeah.
Right now.
But we get so mad when things
go wrong.
Yeah.
Slight inconvenience.
And the focus. It's really about shifting the focus. And what's that been like for you, you know, as a sober man and just in general? Obviously that sober man is your experience. So it's going to be the one you have. But with Tank's Good News, I think I saw that it's moving into something bigger now. Yeah. And like, what's that?
So I have always wanted to expand it. Every chance I get, I'm doing something new with it. And I ran into a guy who was talking about investing in it, like in a major way, in a way that would really move the needle to create more content, not just for me, but for people that I find that I want to cultivate, that I think are doing good out there, that I want to make a show around, make videos for them, put their content out there, expand the website, do live events. My goal right now, you know who Rupert Murdoch is? Fox. I want to be the opposite of Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he's the guy who ruined media and just corporatized and made everything evil and greed won and whatever. I want to be like the exact opposite of him. That would be really, I think, for my life, if in 30 years I'm sitting on top of this media empire where it's like people do still watch Fox and CNN, but it's just like 10%. Their ratings are so low because people just want to watch this good stuff all the time now.
Yeah.
In the 80s and 90s, sex sold. The last 20 years, fear sold. I think for the next 20, we're looking at love and hope and at the very least, unbiased information. And I want to create a platform where people can become informed, inspired, and entertained. Humor, goofiness, lightheartedness. Everything's so grave. Like, you know what I mean? When people say stuff is heavy, I think of like gravity. Like gravity is just like weighing you down. What do you do to combat gravity? You bring levity to uplift and like make people not feel so heavy. Right. That's what I want to do. I want to put a major dent, if not completely change the way news is reported. And I said to this guy, I said the best worst case scenario is if you give us money to make this happen, and a year from now, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, Huffington Post, The Hill, everybody all reports all good news all the time and makes me obsolete. Right. That would be phenomenal. Right. It's not going to happen. But I'd be okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, it is problematic and it's hard. You know, we talk about in program, or one thing that is said, you act your way into a new way of thinking. Yeah. Right. And that has been so much retraining my brain to see the good, to live in abundance rather than scarcity. I'm so like, oh gosh, I'm going to, there's not enough for me. There's just like the fear in my head. And I think that hearing and seeing all people doing all these good things helps me, I should speak for me, helps me want to go out and do more of those good things, participate in more of those good things, which retrains my brain to want to be more a part of that and to look for that and focus on those things, which makes me an overall happier person.
Yeah. I knew the page was onto something when pretty shortly after I started it, I knew that it was onto something because it grew so fast. And I was like, man, people really have a hunger for this. Yeah. For this good stuff. Like they want it bad. But that wasn't the point. The point I knew that I had something was when people started sending me stuff, like maybe 2 weeks in. Yeah. And I was like, man, not only are they coming to the page for a little jolt of like a little reminder that things are okay. Yeah. They're then turning and going and finding their own version of that. And who knows what happens from there.
How often do you use what people send you, or are you finding most of your own stuff?
There's a lot of overlap. If I had a team of people to hunt down leads and cultivate stories, it would be a lot more. That's one of the plans with the expansion, is to not just find stories that are already out there and then kind of put our spin on them. It's to break stories. We've broken a couple of stories.
Okay.
The most recent thing was with Pixar, which was really cool.
That was really cool. Yeah. The cancer.
The girl. Yeah. Little girl sick in a hospital, huge Toy Story fan. I posted it within 10 minutes. Kristen Bell wrote me, somebody from Pixar wrote me, somebody from Disney wrote me. Like, they were like, let's, we're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And the next morning, the girl had the movie.
So cool.
I know. There's something, power is not evil. Having power is good.
Yeah.
I love power. I love having power and being able to.
If you're able to use it in a way that's to help people, it's awesome.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Do you have any ideas around how the sobriety piece is going to mix into it, or do you plan to just attraction rather than promotion with that?
What do you mean?
Like,
am I going to open up a rehab? No.
Let me just help you out as a friend. No, like, do you plan to make that part of, as you grow in visibility, do you plan to make that part, that awareness of like, this is what sober can look like, you can get help too? Like, is that going to be a big piece of Tank's life, or
It is. I mean, I talk about it pretty openly and freely, but it's attraction, not promotion.
Yeah.
Not, it's not going to be, like, I have a book coming out in November.
Okay, cool.
And it's, what I like about recovery is that, like, I shot something for Men's Warehouse, and I was driving and talking, and the guy who was doing the sound in the back, I kept seeing him go, like they were listening and they liked what I was saying.
Yeah.
When we got out of the car, the guy goes, I really got a lot out of your share, man. And my ears perked up. I was like, what did you just say?
Yeah.
I know what that means.
Yeah.
And then he goes, yeah, I got a lot out of your experience, strength, and hope. And I was like, you're one of,
you're one of us.
Yeah, you get it.
Secret handshake.
So you don't need to be overt about it.
Yeah.
People that know.
Yeah.
And
I love when people drop like little, like someone said, I don't know if you watched the debates, but someone said faith without works is dead.
Who said that? Marianne Williamson?
No, but it would have been perfect if she had. But I just mean, like, they say things and you're like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wrote it pretty. Do you like her or no?
My mom and I do I like her for the president?
So you'll appreciate this tweet. I said, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that Marianne Williamson might be the f***ing president. That can't happen.
I have no fear of that at all whatsoever. That is not going to happen. Although that's what I said about Donald Trump, so never mind.
Yeah, who knows?
But that is not high on my radar yet of things. But I find her absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
Like,
she's out there.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Interesting. It was so awesome.
Muy interesante.
Oh, man.
I wish Beto would have said some Spanish shit and Marianne Williamson would have started speaking in tongues or something.
There was so much. I was like, I love this. This is so, like, just, it must have been, I was like, I can't wait. I hope there's an SNL. I hope I can't wait for all the late show stuff. Like, I was just like, this is so much content for the funny people. I just can't wait.
It's so much fun to just make fun of everything.
That's a cool job you have. That's a really cool job you have. It's like, oh, this is just, with political season, is this like gold mine? Or you? Everything
is a gold mine, always.
Yeah.
Everything. It's funny because there's not a meme season, but there are, like, Halloween comes around. I'm like, all right, candy, ghost me or whatever. Valentine's Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving. Like, it's, it's a fun time because there's stuff I like having some kind of a prompt.
Yeah.
To create thought instead of just like looking around and like trying to figure out what I want to say, what happened today that I could turn into some kind of funny content. Having some kind of a goal or an angle to shoot from is really good.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And the debate, I mean, politics is so ridiculous. And people are so ridiculous. Half my followers think I'm a liberal cuck. The other half think I'm a Nazi. It's like, when you guys figure it out, you let me know.
I don't, like, there are mental twists. And like the one where you like randomly tell some person you don't know, like, I hope your mom gets cancer.
Yeah.
You know, and there are certain things that I simply don't understand. And he is one of them.
Yeah, there's narcissism is, it's like, this is narcissism in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And it's me, so I'm good to say it.
Okay.
When I came back from California, I was very tan. I was in shape. I was, broke, but I looked great.
Yeah, right.
And I went to my therapist, and I'm like, I'm back. I'm like, it was good.
How long were you here?
A year.
Okay.
Unintentional to do it. It was just like how long I could last here.
Yeah.
So I said, he goes, I feel like maybe vanity-wise, you've come across like a little bit of a narcissistic streak. Just watch it, and then, we'll check back in on it periodically. So I go back, whatever it is, 2 weeks later, a month later. First thing I say when I sit down is, so I've been thinking about what you said about that narcissism. And he looks at me and he goes, deadpan. He goes, no shit. Like that's narcissism.
Yeah.
Completely devoid of any kind of awareness at all. That you're all you think about.
There are narcissistic traits that people can have, and then there is full blown narcissism.
Yeah.
And I think
I
think we all have traits.
Sure, definitely.
I wonder, people have talked about how we're not listening to each other, and I wonder how much, I've I'm gonna try that on and see how it fits, and I wonder am I listening to what people are saying? Am I listening to what and again, it's very limited, right? My circle is mostly similar views to mine, and which are very moderate, actually. Yeah. And I think that when you get down to most of the issues, if you get down to immigration, what it really comes down to is that people are concerned that you're gonna harm their family.
Yeah.
And we can all relate to that.
Of course.
Right? So I feel like a lot of the issues are so understandable when you say, gosh, if let's take out whatever the issue is. If I felt like you were gonna hurt my family, whatever that was,
yeah, I
would feel that way too.
Yeah.
And so I've been really working on that, finding that okay, this is where that's coming from. This is the feeling I don't agree with how you got there.
Yeah.
But I do agree that if I thought that you were going to hurt my family, I'd be really, really heated about it.
Well, that's why in AA it's so powerful, because you hear about identifying and not comparing. It's like,
right.
If the world was put on a program, and people were forced to listen and communicate and be honest, the hard part is that you got people, you're asking somebody to be honest with you, and they're not even able to be honest with themselves. There's a lot of unpacking of people to do.
Yeah.
Generational. It's going to be generational. And I think there's a book called Enlightenment Now where a guy just basically rattles off statistics about how awesome everything is. And it's throw that in the face of somebody who tells you the world's burning or this country's going to hell in a handbasket. Right. It's maybe your country is because you suck.
Yeah.
But everything else is amazing.
Yeah.
It's very hard to deny the fact that things are much, much, much better. Even with all the videos of people being killed by police officers, the numbers are down. There's more cameras, so you see it more. It's a perception issue. Right. I'm not saying that things don't need to be changed, but let's not make
we've made some progress. We're making progress.
In the book, I don't want to misquote him, but I don't think there's one category where things haven't improved. School shootings are up.
Yeah.
But total number of gun deaths are so way down. But it's they're collected, they're concentrated, so it seems oh my God, wow, I can't believe we've got to ban guns. And it's well, it's very isolated,
My sponsor always says to me, she says, because I'll get into the headspace of oh my gosh, have you seen these things? And, my friends are buying Kevlar. My literally friends are putting Kevlar in their kids' backpacks for school and all this stuff. And she says, the truth is that collectively, the same thing, that things are better than they ever have. If you were, she always says something that strikes me, which is if you're going to be born into a time, now would be the time you'd want to be born into. Oh my God. And when I think of it that way, I'm okay, that's true. So things must be improving.
Yeah.
If now would be the best time in the course of history to be born into, right?
There's no time that's better.
Right, it is.
You want to go back to the 20s?
Right, no, I don't.
Right before the Depression?
Right.
You want to go back to the 30s during World War II?
Maybe the 90s and the dot-com boom and do some,
No, because there was plenty of problems. You ever listen?
See, that was my attempt at a really terrible joke.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
No.
.com. It's funny because a couple of years ago, I realized where this perspective came from, like why Tank's Good News exists.
Yeah.
And it all comes from, I think it all comes from being in Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
And having to
You were in Boy Scouts?
I was in Boy Scouts, yeah. And I had to do a song in front of my troop. Me and my troop or whatever.
Yeah.
We had to do a song in front of the rest of the troops.
Okay.
So we had to pick a song. So we picked We Didn't Start the Fire. You know that song?
Yeah.
Where he just rattles off everything good and bad that happened over the last 60 years.
Yeah.
And how, like,
yeah.
it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
What are you looking at?
Right. What are you looking at?
What are you looking for? Because you'll find it.
Right.
So
what are you looking for? Because you'll find it.
being 8 or 9 years old and having that all laid out in front of me and learning every single word and learning like about what is Ho Chi Minh?
Yeah.
Who's Bernard Getz? Why is he in this song? Learning about this stuff.
Yeah.
Just kind of, I guess, prepped me for the fact that you will find what you seek, and you better be very conscious of what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's something I'm working really hard on, and I think that your prosperity in every sense of the word is a result that as long as I have known you, which now is like 10 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Your name has changed in the last 10 years.
It's changed in the last two.
Yeah. I kind of was talking about change. You are, you are finding what you have sought, and you continue to seek. And I just think you're a wonderful man, and I'm really grateful that you came here. And I know you got a lot going on.
Thanks.
And I really appreciate you taking the time to
Glad I was able to do it.
come to my little popsicle stand.
You have popsicles here?
I mean, I could get some.
I'm so hungry. You have popsicle stands?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Courage to Change, a recovery podcast, would like to thank our sponsor, Lionrock Recovery, for their support. Lionrock Recovery provides online substance abuse counseling where you can get help from the privacy of your own home. For more information, visit www.lionrockrecovery.com/podcast. Subscribe and join our podcast community to hear amazing stories of courage and transformation. We are so grateful to our listeners and hope that you will engage with us. Please email us comments, questions, anything you want to share with us, how this podcast has affected you. Our email address is podcast@lionrockrecovery.com. We want to hear from you.